Thanks for coming on board and listening to soil, one of the most important things that you do in spring to have a successful season, for joining us at Carlin's Buyer Fest. A little different now that we have to do it online instead of in person. Not my favorite thing to do yet, but we'll do our best. I am a territory manager for the Midwest, also involved with other handful of other things with Oldcastle. Been here about 8 years working and developing our strategy and processes. So to help the growers be successful in what they use from us. The next slide will show a very important aspect of Oldcastle. We have many plants, but the proximity of our Midwest plant is Marseilles, Illinois, just south of Chicago. Transportation being a very expensive part of soil getting to you, we are centrally located in the Midwest, which helps alleviate some of that pain on pricing, allows us many different avenues, being this close to the market with the trucks we can get, time of delivery. It's not perfect, but being in the center of our go-to to the market really helps the shipment and success to our customers. Going into the next slide, we will talk about product updates, some new products coming to the market. Also, there we go. A standard set of mixes that we already offer to the market, described as wettest to driest or lightest to heaviest. Don't get mixed up on heaviest, meaning most water holding. Heaviest is bulk density and how we take it to the market. So bulk density is the weight of the mix, and the more bark in the mix, the heavier it will be, but also bark adds porosity, so they dry down faster. So the heavier mixes actually, in reality, dry out quicker than the lightest. We have a full set of bark-based mixes for the nursery, offering bulk loads. Bulk loads are less expensive because it doesn't per cubic foot, because it doesn't have to go down the bagging line. But unless you're within 100 miles of the plant, and where bulk trucks have more success going to, you lose what we're going to save. So if you're not within 100 miles, you're going to lose the savings. Also, on bulk loads, you have to have a spot where the truck can unload all of the mix all at once. Most of our customers have bins, and they have the equipment, meaning loaders, to get that product off the ground and back to their flat fillers or whatever they use for filling their containers. A new product, and we'll have more slides on these as we go along, but a new product to the market is Hydra, and we'll discuss that in a minute, as well as exotic mixes, organic offering with organic fertilizer to the market, and also just a little explanation on custom mixes going to the market. We have a 10 pallet minimum on custom, but the custom can help our to the success of our customers, being as simple as taking some lime out of the mix, depending on the customer's current water supply. It could be, most case scenarios in the Midwest is high alkalinity, so we could take some lime out, and or people who are looking for longer pH levels, we can add lime if they're growing geraniums for a long time, or mums. A lot of people adjust the lime rate and they have high pH. This also extends to any of the biological controls. We have Perfect Amendment, Root Shield, Mycorrhiza. Those become a 10 pallet minimum, but we can add any of those, as well as a slow release fertilizer, CRH, controlled release fertilizers, to the mix. A lot of mum users use that because if it's a rainy season, the fertilizer's in there. and being able to deliver to the plant no matter how much it rains. Going into the next slide, we can look at the lineup of packaging that we have. We have different packages for different bags. Not every single one of them has a bag, and then therefore it would come in a custom bag, green or red. We are right in the middle of delivering another color bag for customs, which would be black and white. On the custom bags, we have an inkjet printer on the mix line, bagging line, that'll stamp something, number of characters in the bag. For instance, if it was Nick's Custom or Nick's CRH, Nick's Low Lime, we could print that on the bag, and it gets printed just on the top of the white, the larger white, so you know what's in the bag when it shows up. Also, we'll stay on the smaller bags. The light to medium weight lightweight would be peat-based mixes into, you see CB on there, 22G. Those are medium weight with about 30 to 40% bark. Those are packed 45 per pallet. They're all shrink wrapped and have a cap on there so they can be stored outside in winter. The heavyweight mixes, which we only have 2 in smaller bags, C25 and 44N, those are packed 42 per pallet. And as well, top cap, shrink wrapped, storage outside is okay. And to the far right, we have a Jolly Gardener. That's what the bulk bag is. There's 60 cubic feet in most of them, except for heavyweight mixes. Again, C25 and 44N have 55 cubic feet because of the weight. And those super sacks are 2 per pallet, top cap, and shrink wrap to be able to store outside you bring it in early and keep them outside for winter. Going into the next slide, we'll talk about the Hydra fiber. It's a new innovative mix coming to the market. We have been trialing in university studies for 5 years on this product. We have been back to 20 years playing with wood products, I myself, to the industry in some sort. But this Hydra fiber mix is a new way to bring it to market. We work with a company called Profile, and the product is actually used from wood chips and extrapolated from that wood chip through high pressure, steam, and temperature and moisture. And it's pulled apart, and when you look at it after it's pulled out, it actually looks like a coarser piece of perlite. It's a little longer, little coarser, and therefore that's how it does its job. Delivering to the soil media, it actually holds water in the cell of the soil, but creating air porosity at the same time because it's a coarse aggregate. So it eliminates some of the more expensive aggregate in the mix. You can take out some perlite, you can replace the peat moss, and you can replace the vermiculite because it'll actually help more water holding and create air porosity at the same time. The weight of it is a tremendous factor. For example, peat moss weighs anywhere from 9 to 13 pounds a cubic foot, depending on moisture content. The Hydra fiber, or as you see on this sheet, the easy Hydra fiber weighs from 2 to 4 pounds per cubic foot. So eliminating a lot of our customers use 2.8 cubic foot bags. It eliminates anywhere from 5 to 7, 8 pounds a bag on the 2.8. So if you're picking that bag up all day long and putting it on your bench where you're filling by hand, or picking up that 2.8 cubic foot bag and emptying it in your flat filler, the weight reduction is immense. It's a very reliable source of product. seeing how it's coming from a fast-growing pine tree in the south. So the renewability is excellent. It's virtually a sterile product because of how it's pulled out of the wood chips by high temperature, and as I stated, very renewable. The another great attribute to the soil mix is its re-wettability when it's dry. It'll take up water and distribute it through the whole column of soil much easier than without it. Um, the difference in growing with it is its capillary action. You will notice a little difference. Capillary action is, to keep it simple, how the soil volume dries out in that container, meaning surface tension. So what we call container capacity is when you fill up a soil container and water it in, and gravity pulls out the water that's left in there is considered container capacity. The surface tension on Hydra fiber is less. It doesn't pull water back up. Gravity is stronger than the surface tension. So the top of the mix will dry off faster than the bottom. So we have to become aware of watering is a little different. You can't do it by watering by vision. You have to get used to watering by the weight of the container or knowing how it dries down. If you have ever used Core does the same thing. So anybody who's using Core could definitely replace Core with the Hydra fiber and they won't notice any difference. The wood, the number one question with the wood on this is, because it's fresh wood, will it take up nitrogen and hold nitrogen and not allow it to the plant? Well, that's where the university studies have come in, and those things do not go along hand in hand. We have not seen any tie up of nitrogen. As long as you're fertilizing with 100 parts per million of a balanced fertilizer, at least 100 parts, you're not going to see any tie up. You will not have to change your fertilizer regime. We have a standard set of mixes with it already, and the Hydra fiber is far less expensive than perlite or vermiculite, a little less expensive than peat moss. So a mix or an input to the mix that's renewable and less expensive has to be almost tried in the market. To the next slide, we have a full lineup of exotic mixes. Exotic mixes were brought to the market for the use of hemp and cannabis, but also a great use of it is vegetable growers that we have in the market. It's fully organic. Our mix plants are all certified organic. We do not have a certified process on there saying that we're shipping it out like we don't have an OMRI certification, but everything meets the NOP, Nationally Organic Products process on how they do it. We have had customers that we've worked with that they have taken to their own certification process to get certified organic, but we do not have a certification. We have a great lineup, standard set of mixes, C70, 22G, CB. The C70 is high porosity, 30% perlite, so it depends on what you're trying to achieve. The exotic 22G and CB is our standard set of mixes, middle weight, and the HF35 is peat moss and 35% Hydra fiber. The organics come from exotic fertilizer package that we have involved a 12. There's 12 ingredients, and you can go down them or whatever. We don't list them on there, but it's feather meal, blood meal, fish meal, bone meal. So it's all organic. The worm castings that's added bring extra microbial activity to the mix, which breaks down that organic fertilizer more easily broken down to get to the plant. The mycorrhiza is another additive in there that makes your plant actually healthier to take up the nutrition that is there, and the water absorption in the plant is enhanced with mycorrhiza. The organic wetting agent is added, and lime adjusts the pH. Same thing, it's available in any mix size that we just looked at. And of course, we can venture out and do custom mixes, but a 10 pellet minimum is required. Down into the retail lineup for 21-22, these 3 items, and then there you go. These 3 items can be added to any of the grower mixes. They're shipped from the grower mix facility: Moisture Mate, potting mix, and garden soil. Moisture Mate and potting mix is virtually the same mix, except the Moisture Mate has a polymer in there that helps hold water longer. The Moisture Mate and potting mix is based after a standard mix of ours, but we add a little compost to help hold water for summer days where it dries down more for our consumer. So there's a little compost added for water retention. All 3 of them have a slow release fertilizer that feeds the plants up to 4 months. The Moisture Mate and potting mix come in 2 sizes, 2 cubic foot and 1 cubic foot. And the garden soil is delivered in a 1 cubic foot bag because it's heavier, and we didn't see that the customers wanted a 2 cubic foot bag. It would weigh too much and be heavy carrying to the vehicle. The last slide on here is a customer service take, and Jill King is with me from our customer service team, and she'll go through this with you.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add a few notes to this, just for you to take into account as you are getting your order ready to send into Carlin. I've been with Oldcastle 5 years, and I'm familiar with a lot of the customers, and certainly you can reach out to me if you have questions along the way. I do have Carrie Lambert, who works alongside me, and I'll get into a little bit of detail as far as what we both do. The first tip that I have is to get your order ready and sent in to Carlin as soon as you can. The sooner we have it in, the sooner that we're able to start planning that delivery for you, whether it be the date that you really need to get delivery. But it also helps our plants to make sure that they're able to have the supplies they need to have the product available for shipping when you need it most. There's a lot that goes into the whole process. So definitely helps to have that in as soon as you can. Ordering in full truckloads is the easiest and quickest way to get an order completed. We do work with many customers who order less than truckload. There are drop charges that go alongside that, but there is more planning involved, in filling that truck. We have to find another customer in your area that will take delivery at the same time that you're looking to get that delivery done. So it's kind of piecing together a puzzle and requires planning alongside everything else. You can expect to receive updates from us along the way. So when we first receive your order from Carlin, we will call you before we do anything else with it. Carrie is the one that will be calling you just to verify any delivery information, to make sure that we know exactly when you want that delivery in. And then we will also let you know before a truck shows up at your door. Along the way, once Carrie gets your order confirmed with you, she will then send it to the plant. From there, I am pretty much following the production behind the scenes. So if it is a half load, I'm making sure that, that is getting matched up with another order and helping things to kind of move along, calling you with updates if there's any concerns. And certainly, like I said before, you can reach out to any three of us if you have questions along the way. If you have not received any phone calls and you have an order that you've sent in, again, feel free to reach out to us or your Carlin rep, and we can kind of help that process along. The last thing is, if at all possible, be as flexible as possible with the trucking. We've seen a lot of freight increases and even just the availability of trucks and drivers in the last 2 years has been difficult. So, if you prefer a flatbed delivery, I know it makes a lot of unloading easier for some customers, as well as the same for some customers to have vans, but the more flexibility in finding trucks helps us to get that delivery to you as quickly as possible. And that's all I have. Any questions along the way, certainly reach out to me.
There you go, Nick.
Great. Thank you. One question that I know comes up at times is samples and sampling of items. What's probably the best way to go about if we have customers calling in wondering about like new products and requesting samples?
Perfect. So we can sample in a couple different ways. Get a hold of your Carlin rep, or as Jill just stated, you can call any one of us. We have a small bag. It's like a 1-gallon sample, or we can send out 2.8 cubic foot bags if you're going to do a grow trial. I would suggest starting with a small bag first. And if it's a standard set, it's easy to do. We usually have sitting there. If it's something a little more rare, it may take a little more time. So give us a little time to get your sample out. But two ways we can put it in the mail, 2.8 cubic foot bag, or a little gallon Ziploc bag we can get in the mail and get it to you. We can get it to your sales reps, or we can put it in the mail, 2.8 cubic foot bag. We can ship, or Carlin's, if they have inventory in stock, they can get it to your place as well. It just depends on how big of a sample you want. But I would start, if something new, a hand sample, just to make sure that's something you want to move forward with.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. If there aren't any other questions, I'd like to thank Mike and the rest of the team at Oldcastle and Jolly Gardener helping us out here on BuyerFest. Thank you again, everyone.
All right. Have a great day.